Thank you for letting me know. Excuse me. Pardon me. Pardon me. Excuse me. Pardon me. Move!
Oh! Excuse you there! Hey!
She speaks for the children. She speaks for the parents. And ladies and gentlemen, she speaks for the real Boston. So the lady you've all been waiting for, Hannah Higgins.
Thank you all so much for your invaluable support in my run for this congressional seat. Sadly, I was just informed the outcome has not been what we all hoped for. The words with which I might express my gratitude would never be equal to the tireless efforts put forth by those involved in my campaign, particularly my friend and campaign manager, Colleen Pickering. It is my sincere belief that all parties are working towards the good of the country to find solutions to the problems facing all of us. It is in that spirit of bipartisanship with which we thusly concede the election. And congratulate my opponent, Mr. Wade Bradbury. Thank you.
I know with only 60% of the polls in, some people think we jumped the gun, but with the numbers as they are, I think the earlier the concession, the more of our dignity we'll keep. Dignity being a state of mind.
Yeah, I voted for her, but only because the idea of voting for the weatherman was absolutely repugnant.
Yeah, I get her push for education, but I've already have an education. What I need is a job. So where's her plan for that?
Hannah Higgins, now I didn't vote for her. She reminded me of the high school principal. I like what she was saying about education and stuff, but she was just, I don't know, such a cold fish, you know?
As if creating work for 300 million people is a job for which intelligence is a disqualification.
Here, it looks like Wade Bradbury is about to make his victory speech. You don't have to watch this, Hannah.
It's not as if the evening could get any worse.
I want to thank all my supporters here and out there. I am honored that everyday people like you have chosen an everyday guy like me to represent you in Washington. Why don't we do this the way you guys like? I plan on bringing a high-pressure system of change to Washington. With the support you've shown tonight, I'll blow out the fog of old ideas and rain down prosperity and happiness. Now it's onward. Let's change which way the wind is blowing in Washington.
That's the problem. He doesn't know which way the wind is blowing. He's a terrible weatherman. Over 73% of his forecasts are inaccurate. He predicted that today was going to be bright and sunny.
Yeah. It's amazing how he passes for an everyday guy. He's standing there wearing a $4,000 Italian suit.
His parents built the wing of a library to get him into an Ivy League school, and yet he has the nerve to paint me as an elitist.
Well, I don't think your undying commitment to proper English helped.
I have no idea to what you are referring.
I don't think it hurts to ask yourselves who you'd rather have a beer with.
I believe you mean with whom one would want to have a beer. This is the perfect example of our need to improve education. Frankly, I find your grammar appalling.
It wasn't hard to convince voters that you thought you were the smartest person in the room.
Well, you've been in most of those rooms. We are.
Wish I had your problems. Must be nice to be too smart.
Suddenly everyone's a political consultant.
Nah, I'm just a beer vendor.
I beg your pardon, what's that?
I'm a beer vendor, you know? Deliver beers, kegs and such, pick up empties after they break down the bar, hand out samples here and there, that sort of thing.
I do believe he's trying to communicate.
Yeah, go on, crack wise.
I think we met earlier in the kitchen. It's, Elliot, is it?
Yeah, Elliot Doolittle, pleased to meet you.
Nice to meet you, too. I think what Mr. Doolittle is trying to say is that he's a beer vendor.
Yes, I suppose I did get some of that.
Sure. Go on. Take your shots at me. You know who's having the last laugh here? Me. Because I voted for the other guy. Sure, he's lace-curtain Irish, but he don't seem like the kind that make fun of a fella. Matter of fact, he seems like the kind you could pick up a sixer at a packy and talk about the Bruins.
We've come to this. I'll have you know that there was more riding on this election than finding someone with whom you could discuss your precious Bruins.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, yes, here we go. This country once had one of the best educated populations in the world. As education flounders, crime and unemployment rise. But instead of addressing these issues, we'd rather elect weathermen to Congress and distract ourselves with reality television and the tattooed circus, otherwise known as professional basketball. Maybe we should just wallow in our own demise, for which someone like you would be the perfect poster boy.
Yeah, well, just so you know, the Bruins ain't basketball, it's hockey! You should at least know what sports teams represent Boston if you want to represent Boston. I guess you're not quite so smart as you think you are.
What frustrates me is not how poorly you speak, but how unnecessarily poorly you speak. With a little education and effort, your insults could be as well spoken as anyone's.
I suppose this means we're calling it an evening. Good night, Mr. Doolittle. Doolittle.
Yeah, good night. David! Frank, you know me a long time. You think I talk funny?
No, sir. What are you, out of your mind? You talk wicked good. Good as anyone I know.
That's what I said.
Thank you so much for changing your schedule last minute and coming down to our school. I really think that meeting some of the new staff was tremendously helpful for them.
My pleasure. Colleen and I will have an updated curriculum for the students with learning disabilities by next week, and the school board is going to visit to observe classes on Thursday. So in the meantime, if you need anything, call me at the office. Thank you.
Thank you.